Dolphins fans. Let's go!
All right, huddle up, huddle up. We're gonna crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. Wait, 80, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the Finish Line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. Ballgame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What is good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one, a special episode of the Finish Line, as we are just one night away from the NFL draft. And tonight, Mr. Ball Game is out there playing with batons and tracks. So we brought on the boy who never slacks, Mr. Martin. How you doing, gentlemen? Richmond, how you doing? How you doing today?
Hey, doing good. Man, like you said, this is the last night. Tomorrow is the night. You know, it all kicks off, and I've been on Twitter this week, and they've been mentioning. I've seen some of my former teammates. I think they even mentioned me, OJ McDuffie, and I think I seen Troy Vincent. But actual days that we got drafted, it was years ago. But that brought back memories. But doing good. Glad to be on here with two Q quarterbacks, you and my favorite Martin, my man Ball Game, like you said, out there working with future Olympians and stuff like that, getting them ready. So my man Martin just stepped in and filled the gap, but it's always good when an offensive lineman can hang out with two QBs. So when I got the message that Martin was coming on, I said, this is gonna be good. So I get two quarterbacks to myself tonight. So I get to learn a little bit tonight, but I get to hang out with you guys. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. How you doing, Mr. Malcolm X? Watching movie, Mr. Martin. How you doing today, sir?
Hey man, just wrapped it up, man. Hey, look, man. Sometimes things happen. You know what I mean? Bob Breachy went down with an injury. Earl Morrall came in. Earl Morrall handled business, and we got the 72 seasons done, right? So, Mr. Ball Game's out and Mr. Game Ball is in. So like it's just the easy, I'm in there, man. So now I'm in. Hey, but exactly.
We're all on team. Come on with it, Martin. Come on, give it to us. We waiting on
it. Hey, first and foremost, man, it's an honor, man. I watch Finish Line all the time. This is, stepping into these uncharted waters right now. This is, I'm starting to feel it a little bit, man. I'm liking it. So, I'm just here to pick up, anything that I can for, Ball Game's behalf. And I hope he's doing all right, man. Cause, Ball Game's a man, bro. I can't really do too much now. I'm just here. I'm just here for him, man. So I appreciate it,
Martin. Martin, cut it out, brother. We all on the same team. Now, come on now.
I gotta say though, let's keep it a buck though. He sure didn't come dressed for the occasion like Ball Game does week in, week out.
That's for sure. That's for sure, man. Ball Game look like he be dressed for a gala sometimes, bro. Like damn sharp.
And gentlemen, if my math is correct, 40 years to the day, number 13 was drafted on this day 40 years ago to the Miami Dolphins.
Sweet.
Jeez.
April 26, 1983.
Can we make this a holiday, bro? Like why not? Why not, bro?
Quick, someone hit the Madonna. Holiday. Another thing too, man. It was I'm out in space tonight. I've been up since 5 a.m. today because my daughter had my youngest had a procedure today. I guess they had to put some ear tubes in because she has the fluid. She has continuous fluid buildup and stuff. So they had to drain fluid out of her ears and put these like spaghetti thin like tubes in her ears today. So, dude, we got there at 6 o'clock. And they didn't take her till 8:30. She hadn't eaten since last night at about like 6 p.m. Oh, and then we didn't get home till about 11 a.m. man. So, brutal, man. Today has been a long one. So nice to end it off with some good conversation and sharing it with you guys. Let's start off here though. I want to get your guys. I want to kind of segue. Now we'll get to Dalvin Cook in a minute here, but I kind of want to segue into something here. And I haven't got your guys' thoughts on this. So let's keep it part of the opening thoughts here. We'll start with you, Richmond, then we'll get to you, Martin. Your guys' thoughts on Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. being finalized. And remember that second round pick that was involved in the deal next year conditionally can turn into a first round pick if he plays more than 65% of the snaps. And then they swap picks this year as well. Plus another pick was thrown in. We'll start with you, Richmond. Your thought on Aaron Rodgers coming to the division? Because my whole take is, man, all that fuss and dragging that out just to fight with the Bills on who's going to finish behind us.
Yeah, like I say, everybody look good on paper. I respect what Aaron Rodgers has done in this league, and I think we all knew that the quarterback. I mean, the Jets have had some issues at the quarterback position they've tried to resolve, and I think everybody knows that you've got to have a quarterback in this league in order to have an opportunity to win. Now, will that fix all their problems? I doubt it. Does Aaron Rodgers come with a little baggage of stuff you got to kind of cater to, stuff like that? He's been in the league. I'm sure he does, but, that's for the Jets to work out and this and that. But, a lot of people are speculating that, since the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, that, possibly the third best team. I saw something like that on Twitter, on ESPN, whatever, stuff starts coming out. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who it is. They got 11, you got 11. You got to go out, you got to play them, and you got to execute them. And I think the thing is, if it makes our division better and we can play and up to our expectations and do what we can, it just helps us get ready for the playoffs. And I think the thing that's key here is, matching the level of competition, but at the same time being able to sustain it throughout the season and then stay healthy. So they got him. I'm happy for this and that, but that doesn't change my view as far as what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. I think everybody knows. I mean, everybody makes moves in the offseason to get better. So, hats off to them, but hey, it is what it is.
Your thoughts, Martin?
Well, if Aaron Rodgers hasn't said it loud enough, he hates Brett Favre's guts, bro. Because there ain't no reason for this man to segue from Green Bay immediately to the New York Jets. I mean, there's an underlying thing going on there with him and Brett Favre for sure. I mean, I'm just gonna throw that out there, just throw that out there. But I will say I really enjoy from the get-go. I've always enjoyed watching Aaron Rodgers play football. It's just what it is, man. When you can play quarterback at that level and maintain consistency, maintain the dedication, just cutthroat, getting after it, you got to respect it. And I'm just saying that bottom line, he's just one of those quarterbacks you just want to see play. But for him to come to the Jets, it's a bittersweet thing because I'm glad he's out of Green Bay. Like I said, I love watching a good quarterback play well. And obviously for the last couple of years, there's been a rift between him and Green Bay, which hasn't necessarily produced like the best version of him. But that's where the bittersweet comes in because now I get to see, what he's going to do without Green Bay. And I think he has something to prove, right? And because he has something to prove, now we get to see a quarterback getting pretty much plopped into a situation fairly similar to Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, if that makes sense. Not necessarily saying it's going to be the same result. You know what I mean? Year one Super Bowl. Not that.
Hold on. Like, is that a good comparison? Because Brady still had that fire while this guy's going on McAfee and saying, yeah, I was basically like 80-90% ready to retire. And then I decided, like, basically, that's the money is the reason why he's playing.
Right. But when I say that, I'm referring to like the situation with the team. You know what I mean? Like Tampa Bay's defense was, aren't like tailor-made, damn near ready to go. With guys on there, and then the offense. Yeah, right. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Like things like that were happening already, and Tom Brady was just a plug-and-play guy. It's the same type of scenario I see with Aaron Rodgers. And like Richmond said, when you have teams like this, as far as Buffalo is concerned, as far as New York Jets are concerned, and let's not sleep on the Patriots just because it's you always got to watch out for the Patriots. This division is literally one of those divisions where whoever comes out of this division should be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Like in my opinion, whoever can make it into the playoffs coming out of the AFC East, every team outside of the AFC East in the AFC conference has to look at that team 1 or 2 or even 3, because you never know, right? Yeah. They got to look at those teams like, okay, yeah, we gonna have some problems because they literally just, went to war with each other and now they're looking for new blood. So, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Do you guys think we could have, 3 teams from the East, 2 wild card teams, and our division winner? Do you think that's a realistic possibility with how good the Bills roster is? I listen, I think the Bills are going to regress because of what's happened to that defense. It just feels like they kind of missed their window. Diggs seems happy, and if they get off to a rough start, it feels like Diggs is going to be asking for out of that place. I mean, what do you guys see a real possibility of 3 of those teams, or do you think only max 2 can make the playoffs out of the East?
I would say probably max 2, and the reason I say that, I think it's not impossible, but I think it's pretty hard to get 3 teams from one division in the playoffs. So I would say 2, and then you brought up a great point. They lost Dabo. We became head coach of the Giants last year. And Leslie Frazier, the defense coordinator, is taking a year off this year. That's two big voids to fill.
And Edmonds. And they lost Edmonds, right?
They lost Edmonds, and that's a lot. So you still have playmakers and stuff, but when you lose your 2 coordinators, I think that's a lot. So I do think they will regress. They'll still be good, but I think they will regress. So I think it'll possibly 2, but I don't think 3. I'm not saying 3 is impossible, but I don't
Richmond. I'm watching the situation, okay, and it seems like they brought Poyer back because if they lost Edmonds and Poyers, they would have not only lost their DC, but they would have lost the heart and soul of that defense. So they only could afford to lose the heart or the soul. It just feels like, okay, this offense is going to have the ability to score, 28 to 35 points on you any given Sunday, but it also seems like they might be allowing 28 to 35 points every Sunday, depending on what you like. Their defense does not scare me. And I'll even go with the Jets. Listen, to your point, Martin, with the Bucs. I think the Bucs were better defensively than what the Jets are right now. Listen, I'm going to say this.
Right.
And I've been harping on this. I think Sauce is that he was good, man. He was definitely good last year. But 2 things. 1, he could only keep up with Tyreek when he was clutching some of the jersey. And 2, the guy who was really giving him the work and wasn't getting the football because of poor quarterback play, because Tua wasn't there to distribute the football, was Jalen Waddle. Sauce could not keep up with Jalen. Jalen made him look foolish, bro. If you go back and watch that film, which I'm sure you have, Waddle was clowning him with his routes, bro. It was turning him inside out consistently. I'm not worried. You know what I mean? I think we'd like that. I think we'd like that. I don't think that defense, CJ Mosley, I know he's healthy that last year, but how many years has he had in the last 5? You know what I mean? I just look at that defense and it's like, all right, and then you got to look at this. I know a lot of players go through it. Some players don't. But, hey, Kyle Pitts went through it, right? The daunted sophomore slump. What if that hit Sauce? Just saying.
What if, right?
Things you got to take into account, right? Listen, do I think Garrett Wilson is good? Sure, but is he Waddle or Tyreek? Hell no. And honestly, I've said this before. You guys, I haven't said it to either of you yet. I would have taken a lot. Now, I know the situation might have got bad and he might have asked for it out. Elijah Moore is better than he's way more deadly. And I'd be way more afraid of Elijah Moore paired with Garrett Wilson than I am of Alan Lazard and McCole Hardman. Because McCole Hardman can only run 9 routes. What other? The guy doesn't know any other number, bro. In route, what is that? Where do I go? In and out? Do I go get a burger? What is that? I don't know. He only knows how to run vertically. You don't know how to run anything other than that. And Alan Lazard, please. Okay. I'll go even further. Braxton Berrios would have been better. Would have kept him for Aaron Rodgers than Alan Lazard.
Great point. Great point. But less is more. We took him. We took him for probably the intentions of we don't want to give Aaron Rodgers too much ammunition. So let's take weaken him a little bit.
Bro, this man already looks like Nicolas Cage from Con Air. And by the time mid-season hits and by the time he's faced us twice, he's gonna look like Benjamin Button, bro. That's what he's gonna look like.
Oh man,
done, bro. All right.
I can't wait,
run,
man.
Aaron, run, baby, run.
I can't wait. And the best part about it is Aaron's already faced us, right? He's already faced the Dolphins from last year.
Yeah.
So he's
was blowing him out of the water until he had to get for him to get the striking distance of us. Give me a break.
Right. It's almost like a precursor, man. We're really gonna see like he got a glimpse of what was gonna potentially happen when we're really rolling as a team. So it's gonna be interesting, man. Because Aaron Rodgers, you already know what he's gonna do, man. He's just he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. So we're gonna see what we can get out of him, and we're gonna go to war with that team, bro. Like both times out in the Meadowlands and in Hard Rock. So,
yo, dude, can I be honest? I saw this stat. I saw this stat too that's out there. Prime Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Prime Aaron Rodgers versus Fangio was 5-6.
Let's get it.
Wow.
Let's get it. Let's get it, man.
Bring it. All right. Okay. If they thought Xavier Howard was something when he was paired with Byron Jones.
Yeah.
In the words of Jack Nicholson as the Joker, wait until they get a load of me, all right? Because him paired with Jalen Ramsey, are you crazy?
Wow.
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what we're gonna do? And then cater in the slot with Nick Nino.
Right.
Where do you want to throw? Pick a spot.
We haven't really talked about it in Jalen Ramsey's presence, bro.
Yeah.
In this defense, I just think the impact and the ramifications of it is going to be, just a tidal wave of an effect. Yeah. Yes.
Javon Holland, don't got to worry. Last year, you saw a regression in Javon, not a regression, but you saw Javon Holland taking on so many responsibilities.
Right.
He no longer had the field split in half and taken care of by two elite corners. Now, this kid just had a flood of responsibilities. And now, guess what? Holland can get back to playing free, instinctually, read, react, do what you want. And Holland gonna, brother, Gesicki, keep your head up over the seat, kid. That's all I gotta say. All right.
Hey.
Oh man.
Oh
man.
I love it.
Yes,
right between the 8 and the 6, bro. Huh? Hey.
Okay.
That's gonna be a game too, man, for sure, man. Lord.
Oh, go to the Patriots, you clown. All right, so I say that because I want to show you guys this kind of a segue, and I'm not talking about a scooter with 2 wheels on it. When you look at Bradley Chubb said something very, very interesting when he was asked by Joe Shad. He said, Bradley Chubb asked by Joe Shad in ongoing press conference about playing Aaron Rodgers twice a year. I'm excited to compete against that twice in a year. It brings out the best in everyone. It's going to be fun. I haven't sacked him yet. This will be the perfect opportunity to. So you got the players already saying, oh, yeah, we can't wait to get a hold of that guy. Listen, I just talked to Ian before we went live here. Phillips 12.5 sacks. Chubb's 10 sacks maybe this year. Listen, our edge rushers, our defense, they ain't afraid of Aaron Rodgers. And they're looking forward to the challenge, Richmond. And you can talk about this because you went up against guys like Bruce Smith and, that competitive nature, that challenge. And is this something you think? Listen, we don't wish injury upon anyone. and I'm not going to put that out at all. But to be the guy that lays a nice,
They just want to touch him up. Yeah, they just want to touch him up. Yeah.
Just finish the tackle all the way through to the ground.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I just want to touch him up. Yeah.
Oh man, how do you see this? How do you see this going, Richmond? Because that was from his press conference, and that was like right after Aaron Rodgers got signed, and already you can tell they're licking their chops, Richmond, at the opportunity to get a hold of Aaron Rodgers. No,
and ain't no question. Anytime you play one of the best quarterbacks ever played the game, you want that notch on your belt. And I think the thing that's challenging is, not only you got Jalen Phillips, but now you got Phillips and Chubb. So now your tackles, majority of the time, will be isolated. You might be able to help one every now and then, but you got to pick your poison. You got to say, okay, either we're going to help this guy or that guy. But it just puts a lot more pressure on the offensive line when you got two great pass rushers, because now either Wilkins or interior guy, if he gets loose, now it's just disrupts the pocket. So there's so many things that you can do. And with Fangio, I'm sure he's going to dial up some stuff to where, he's going to mix it up and make it a little spicy and this and that, and put a little taste on his tongue and see if he starts sweating when he starts eating spicy food. But, he'll be all right. Aaron, a big boy. You just get up and, you take it like a man, and hey, they got me this time, this and that. But
yeah,
I guarantee you, that defense definitely wants to make a statement. And also, Chubb was previously up under Fangio, and he's had some success in that defense. So yeah, he was like, he just got here last year. I don't think he had the type of production that he wanted. So a lot of times, even though they're teammates, they're competitive. So if Jalen Phillips starts getting sacks, Chubb's going to match it, this and that. So it's competitive, but it's in a good way. It helps the team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Guys, 450 in the room. Please smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Hey, it takes 1 second and it costs $0. Help me out with my friend Algorithm, and just smash that like button. Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I really like Bradley Chubb speaking on this, and what's really intriguing about all this is he also mentioned in that interview something about Jalen Phillips, right? And what his thoughts are with working out with Jalen Phillips and things like that. Yeah. And I kept thinking to myself, like, you know what, man? What Jalen Phillips is notorious for, and what we really love about Jalen Phillips, is his motor, right? His relentlessness, his almost hell-bent urge to get to the ball carrier, right? And I think about Chubb, and Chubb, what he brings to the table is like technician and just being patient with certain things, and so they're different players. But when I think about them working out together, and I think about both of them picking each other's brain, and I think about how one sword can sharpen the other, right? Like really, incorporating both games equally for both players. If you bring to the podium, we have Aaron Rodgers this week. I mean, I guarantee both of those dudes are gonna look at each other like, Portman and what's his name on Mighty Ducks, like the Bash Bros, but just give each other their dap, and then it's go time, right? So I'm expecting that type of play out of both of those guys, because I know for sure they're working with each other. They're giving each other just little tips here and there that's really gonna manifest throughout the season. And going up against Aaron Rodgers, I know for sure that's something that he's looking forward to. But that's just one other quarterback for him to really get after. But he's acknowledged this division as a quarterback-driven division, and he knows his job and Jalen's job. So I love that he's talking about it.
Russell says Wilkins will have a career high in sacks in this defense. we will see. I actually think the career sack guy, if you're going between, I think Seiler has a chance of really putting up some decent sack numbers if he's given the opportunity here, man. I mean,
facts.
I'm talking a guy who had more pressures and just as many sacks as Wilkins on less snaps last year. So it'll be interesting to see what that guy can do. I mean, another player who could very, very well increase their price tag this season with good play. Before we get into the Dalvin Cook thing, last year he had 1,710 yards. This year, according to him, Tyreek Hill says 2K on my mind. Guys, I just want I'm going to ask you this simply. You let me know. The chances, and you can factor in or you cannot, whether we have Dalvin Cook or not, the chances of him hitting 2K, what would you give a percentile on it? We'll start with you, Martin. What would your percentile be of his chances on hitting 2K this season after hitting 1,710 in the first year?
70% he can get it done. I'm 70% sure that he can get it done. This is a guy who, you know, and all pro bowl, everything. Tyreek Hill, when he says something, he means it, you know, for the most part. There is no really playing around or toying around with Tyreek. If he feels and he understands, you know, what's happening, you know, behind the scenes, fine-tuning the offense as far as signals and things like that, looking at his quarterback this offseason and saying, okay, is this the tool we're going to get this year? If he's, you know, putting those numbers together in his head as far as what they're working on and what they're building towards, then yeah, I mean, in his mind, he's like, you know what, I could get 2,000 this year, man. You know, 100 yards here, 150 here. I might just bust out for 2,000.
Look what Rome said, right? If Tua stayed healthy, you know what I mean? Remember?
Oh yeah.
Waddle and Tyreek had 15 touchdowns last year between the two of them. Not one of those came outside of Tua Tagovailoa.
Lord knows, man. I think it can happen. I think it can happen, man. I give it a 70% chance that it materializes based off of what we're going to be doing offensively this year with Mike McDaniel year 2. You know, so.
And guys, I want to hear in your comments in the live chat right now, or the comments if you're watching this after, what percentage you put it at in terms of Tyreek Hill's chances of reaching 2K. Richmond, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the key is him and Tua, you know, staying healthy and certain players staying healthy. I think that plays a huge part in it. I think what I really like about it is, like he said, it's on his mind. So he's already creating a vision where he can see himself going over 2,000 yards. And I think he only needs maybe 117, 120 yards a game. So he's preparing for it even before, and he's not scared to put it out there that, you know, hey, this was on my mind, this and that. And I think it's definitely achievable. But the thing that I do like about Tyreek Hill is if it's there for him to get it, he's going to get it. But he's not the type of guy that's going to come in the huddle and say, hey, I need 50 more yards. You need to throw me the damn ball. You know, the main thing with him is he wants to win. But I think we can win, and I still think he can achieve that goal. So that's what I love about him. But, yeah, I think I'll go higher than that. I'll go at least probably 80%.
Larry put 10%. He's the lowest I've seen.
Larry out here trolling.
We're gonna do a little internal investigation on Larry. I'm like, hold on, you might be undercover. Hold up, dog.
What were you saying, though, Richmond? Sorry.
Yeah. I think you know, that's what I love about him. Like, you know, everybody you talk to, he's the hardest working guy on the team. This and that. I mean, he pushed Waddle to be even a better player. You know, and for him to say, hey, you got to be better than me. So he's grooming this young man that he don't have to, but he knows if he makes Waddle better, that makes the Dolphins better. So the team concept, I love that about Waddle. You normally don't see that a lot of times out of receivers, this and that. But I think I'd say 85% he can hit that. But it's not going to be where he's forcing them to say, hey, it's week 9 and, I need 1,100 more yards. So, I'm open on every play. So, throw me the damn ball. He's that type of guy. So, winning team first with him. So I like that. So, but I would love to see him get it because he works his butt off.
Polly King says 0% because he's going for 3K. See, here's my thing. I think it's a little bit of a goal for him, especially since he left Mahomes, because remember McDaniel said to him, one of the first things McDaniel said to him was, I'm going to get you 2K. Remember? So I think but I do think at the same point, he's not going to force it. I think he's just going to get it on his own. If Tua would have been healthy, he would have cleared that last year.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If Tua doesn't miss those games, he clears that. So
or he's real damn close to clearing it at least.
Well, he only needed 290 yards and Tua missed what? 5 games?
Yeah. Just around 5 games. Yep.
Come on.
So you're right. Come on, son.
Come on. All he needs, he gets 60 yards a game and he's clearing that. Right?
60 more yards. Right.
Well, in those last 5 games. That's what I'm just saying. So hey, and remember the times when he caught 60 or 70 yards, remember how much Tua was distributing? We'd have 10, 11 receivers and Tua would throw for 400 yards when Tyreek was only catching 60, 70 yards.
And to be real, reason there were even times where Tyreek Hill used to, he was just either dropping some big time, catches, or even even the one with the Chargers, he just couldn't see what was going on. It got lost in the light. Yeah. The one on the first drive too.
No. Yeah, you're talking about the one later on. I know which one I'm talking about. But the one on the first drive too. Yeah, him and Waddle missed back-to-back first down conversions on that first drive. Right. They dropped it, right? And then the one who said that he lost in the lights clearly. And that Buffalo one, brother. That's listen, we can blame. You can literally put that game on Boyer in the third down conversion that turned into a touchdown on the long drive, or you could put it on Sherfield or Hill, and you got to put it more on Hill because of the money he's making, not making the catch in the end zone and stealing that.
Yeah. So Tyreek Hill knows that there's room for improvement with him, but when there's room for improvement, there's also room to say I can actually reach this goal. So
and he admitted it too. Remember?
Yeah.
Because he had a couple key drops, and he said, I'm dropping, I got to clean that even. He admitted it, right? So, all right, let's get into it. Let's talk about this. Dalvin Cook, because we get to dive into, we've heard a little bit of Richmond's takes on it, but we haven't heard, the channel hasn't had a chance to really heard Martin discuss in depth. So let's play the clip. This is from Thor Nystrom on... he's on Twitter. I've actually been following him for years. You can follow him at ThorQ, and I've been following him for years, and he's plugged. He does he's been, especially in the draft community, he's done a lot of draft stuff for a lot of big, sites, and, he's big. So this is what he said on a Vikings-centric podcast. And let's break this down because there's a lot to talk about just in this minute and 11-second clip. So let's get into it for everyone.
One of them to keep an eye on is, and I forget if I said it on these airways yet, but I know we've talked about it privately, but I heard the Vikings had trade parameters worked out with an AFC team for a Dalvin Cook trade after June 1st. It'll be interesting to monitor this thing on draft weekend because obviously the Vikings, if they had their druthers, they would prefer to put that thing off till after then because you save, $4 or $5 extra million if you wait until after June 1st to trade Dalvin Cook. But on draft weekend, if they already know that that's going to happen, obviously running back moves up on the priority list. And then, but also if another team swooped in and had an offer for Dalvin, or if that somehow got worked into one of these trades where you're moving up the board or down the board, however it would work. Again, would the Vikings then defer off of their agreement in principle with this AFC team to hold off on that? We'll have to see on that if the trade offer was good enough. But the running back position will be the other thing I would monitor there because I think the Vikings are very much in play to take a running back, which you wouldn't think by just looking at their depth chart. But I think that there's already an idea there that we will not have Dalvin Cook on the roster next year.
Listen, I've covered this on this channel for weeks, okay? You've had a Finn Heaven report come out. You've had Bobby Schaus on Twitter come out today, and from what he's heard, back up what I've heard, and it's gone down to, we've said this before, I'll say it again, it's definitely somewhat of a Ramsey situation, all right? I've said this. I've known that Dalvin's let it be known he'll play ball with us financially. He wants to come here. Homecoming reunion has been, and then, you hear this, right? And, you heard his agent, right? If you saw his agent on that podcast a couple of weeks ago, basically stopped short when he said, I'm really excited to see Dalvin in. And then he literally stopped and said, I can't say anything more than that, blah, 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 blah. And then one of the guys on the podcast straight up asked, hey, were the Dolphins trying to trade for him? And his way of answering that question was, well, when you hear the media talk about the draft, they're usually off. But when you hear them talk about those type of things, they're usually on point. So saying, yeah, they inquired without. So we know there's a lot of smoke. I've known privately there's a lot of smoke. I've been reporting this for weeks upon weeks. That's why I keep talking about it all the time, because I know how real this is behind the scenes. I've had stuff that has been verified by Barry Jackson a week after I've told people on Patreon or up here about it. So there's very real fire to this smoke. Your guys' thoughts on what was just said, because from my deduction, the only other team I could see maybe being in that conversation are the Buffalo Bills. And I know they were far more interested, and they were in on Derrick Henry than they were on Dalvin Cook. That again just reeks of me like the agent just reeks of Dolphins. We'll start off with you, Martin, then we'll get to you, Richmond. Does this feel to you like the Dolphins and Vikings have potentially the parameters of a post-June 1st trade worked out? Because if you add in the $3.7 million we have right now, we will have over $17 million come June 1st freed up. If you were to extend Wilkins, that clears up about another $10 million this year. You can front load that deal, kind of like what you did Ramsey, because this is all coming down to guaranteed money for Dalvin. He only has about $2 million worth of guaranteed money left. You could get that out of the way this year with all the cap work clearing up. So what are your guys' thoughts? Because it makes sense for both teams. They clear the most money with a post-June 1st or a June 1st cut or trade. They're the same. They're the same for the Vikings. Do you think the parameters are worked out, Martin?
For the Miami Dolphins, it sounds like it. It sounds like it's already pretty much, wrapped up. But I had this conversation with EM, and he mentioned the same thing. Like, what are my thoughts about Dalvin Cook? And I told him, I was like, I don't know. Only because I'm more, like I keep saying, I'm more worried about the contract than anything else, and how many contracts that we're pretty much accumulating, as far as all this star power that's coming in to Miami right now, right? So that's my only concern. But the more I keep thinking about Dalvin Cook's situation, and the more I keep thinking about variables and things like for instance, right? Dalvin Cook's trainer is who?
Nick Hicks.
Nick Hicks, correct? And Nick Hicks is just along the way, just relatively close to the Miami Dolphins players as well. I can only imagine whatever sit downs that they could have had, whatever meetings they probably could have had, and I'm just speculating. There could have been those type of conversations, and Nick Hicks being a conduit of actually getting that ball rolling. Like, yeah,
Martin, let me ask you, add fuel to this, because let me continue this thought process, because you brought Nick up. Josh House, friend of mine, friend of the show. He was in a thread yesterday on Twitter. You can go find it for anyone who wants to go find it. And he asked Nick Hicks, joking around, hey, before the deal's done, can you just post a chef emoji before the Cook deal's done? And do you know what Nick Hicks replied to him?
Mm-hmm.
He said, it won't be a quote unquote trade, so to speak. So
That's interesting.
Take that however you take that. I take that
Right.
as either a cut or it's not really a trade because he's forcing his way and there ain't any other option. This is by his accord. It's the Ramsey thing all over. It's literally Ramsey all over again. And, I've been telling these guys, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Martin. We went from, all the Dalvin Cook rumors were coming out to, okay, they said they're going to cut him, to then all of a sudden we're spending all this time with Devin A-Chain, one of my draft crushes in this class. And we're willing to move up and trade for Jahmyr Gibbs, which we know ain't the truth. It's clearly posturing through the media because it just reeks of the Dolphins saying, hey, this is what we're offering. We're not moving off of it, and we got other options if you don't like it.
Right. I'm look, and bottom line, what I can clearly see is not only them posturing, but them also kind of emphasizing nudge to the running back room, like, guys, we're bringing somebody in here, but like that. They're pre-prepping what's inevitably going to happen, whether it be Dalvin Cook or the draft. And let me just say this too: if you bring in a player, forget about just running back, just a player of Dalvin Cook's caliber, that's when I'm looking at it like, okay, that's when defenses are going to have to start playing the Miami Dolphins as honest as Abraham Lincoln, because there is no way you put a cover 4 with a running back like Dalvin Cook in the backfield, who is equally as good as a pass catcher as he is as a rusher. And again, pick your poison as a defense. And I guarantee you, when it comes to how they're maturing to a pre-snap process, order of operation, making sure he sees what he sees and he activates it. I mean, you're talking about an offense that could be next to unstoppable if you get a player like Dalvin Cook into this system. My only issue is the price tag that comes with that, barring all of the players that we're trying to keep. And honestly, it feels like we're gonna miss out on a couple guys later on down the road.
Over the next 2 years, we can pay. The money issue starts to come in like year 3 or 4 here. Not again, you front load. I don't think this is going to be anything more than a 2-year, 3-year deal, and the third year might be a team option, right? I don't think it's anything more than that. Richmond, what are your thoughts on Dalvin Cook, and what are your thoughts on that clip we just played? Because I know you also saw what the agent had said too. So you're really on top of this situation. What are your thoughts on this whole Cook thing?
Yeah, I think the way he said it, I think he definitely knows which team it is.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know whether it's somebody from that team or whatever, but he was careful how he said it, which I believe he already knows who the team is to say, I'm going to give you this information, but you can't say anything right now. And I think the only other thing he said was, unless some crazy happens during the draft, that say a team comes to Minnesota and say, we'll give you this, and that. And I think even if that was the case, they would still run that by the Dolphins and say, hey, this is what whichever team, I'll just say the Houston Texans, don't have to be them. This is what they're offering us, this and that. Do you want to match it? And they'll say, well, yeah, and they'll go ahead and make the deal. But it sounds like the deal is already worked out. And based on what you just said about Nick, the trainer, which trains him, and then the response that he said that, it's not going to be a trade. I agree with you. I think he'll probably be released, and then he'll sign with the Dolphins that way. But, I think Martin brought up a good point is great player, this and that, but you still could create some salary cap issues, this and that. And so until you said it'll probably be like a 2 or 3 year deal, but that's definitely, you always got something. You're loading up with all these superstars and these ballers and this and that, and it makes you almost unstoppable. But at some point, this thing can explode on yourself, this and that. But I would love if they could make that happen. I think Dalvin is excited. Ain't nothing like coming back home, playing from, you got your fam here, this and that, and right back down in South Florida, play to Florida State. So it's just an all good thing. And then I think he sees when you look at the Dolphin roster, and even though we didn't achieve everything we wanted to last year, that if we keep everybody healthy, it's the playoffs, possibly
Super Bowl
AFC
team.
Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, we got that type of caliber. And then the changes we made on defense, it's like,
that's why I don't think he's going to break our back financially, because looking at that roster and it's from your hometown.
Yeah.
You come here and you deliver a Super Bowl, you are a god in Miami, okay? Especially if you're a hometown boy.
Martin, the Florida boy, he already knows.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I had to laugh like that, man, because the Dolphins haven't won the Super Bowl before any of us was born, really, man. And it's like, damn, the moment they bring back a Lombardi Trophy to South Florida, like you said, they'll be cemented. For every player on that team will be cemented.
They will never pay
in
for
Dolphins lore.
They will never pay for another meal in South Florida as long as they live again.
They will be cemented in Dolphins lore.
Can you imagine the type of love you get in the hood if the Dolphins go win?
Wow.
Hey man,
Lord knows and you know, not to get too far off topic, but Miami Central, you know, Dalvin Cook's old school. They've literally overtaken South Florida as the best football program, and I thought I would never really see that, considering that they're down the street from Miami Northwestern, football powerhouse that pushes out, you know, football babies like it's nothing. And then you talk about South Florida, St. Thomas Aquinas, that's infamous for just really pre-prepping guys to, you know, to go into college and start as true freshmen. Like for Miami Central, considering the location that they're at, not necessarily having the greatest resources and funds, for them to be elevated into that football mecca. And now you're talking about Dalvin Cook coming back here, and then if he wins a Super Bowl, I mean, that there ain't no doubt in my mind, man. You're cemented as a you know, you like you said, in the hood you can go anywhere you want, bro. If you pull that off, you know. So you know, let's see what happens.
You got that non-revocable pass anywhere you go.
Already.
You know,
we're gonna talk about Honest Abe later, Martin. But I know. Talk about Honest Abe. Hey, Reason, I ain't gonna let it make it on that one. I gotta get it on that.
I'm with you.
500 of you in the room, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into some draft talk here. What should the Dolphins' priorities be with pick number 51 and number 84? Richmond, let's start with you. In your mind, what should the top priority or priorities be for the Dolphins with those first two picks? Yeah.
Man, I got to go offensive tackle. I mean, I know it's some things that hadn't shooken out or whatever, but if it's a guy that slipped, especially like the guys you sitting in at all 22, man, if we can snatch one of those guys, it's just we got players, but you got to have some depth because at some point during the season, people do get hurt. It's just part of it. And if you can grab a valuable guy like that, because all those guys look pretty good. I mean, they can play, and I thought most of them would probably be first rounders. I just don't know how it's going to shake out. The two tackles from Jones from Ohio State. Man, the kid from Georgia is just, and they got a mean streak with him.
Broderick's mean. Broderick Jones is mean from Georgia. DeJuan Jones, I think, is going to be there.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of questions about whether he loves football. You know, his weight has fluctuated. You know, he ran a sub 5.3 at about 370, and then
370.
Yeah, and then at his pro day, he personal decision not to weigh in, and the belief was from people there he looked like he was in the 390s. And
we don't need that.
You know, I had Ryan Roberts on the show. He told Ryan Roberts flat out the only reason he's playing football is because he couldn't play basketball.
You don't need that. If that's what's true, and we'll
You
file
watch
that with
the
honest
tape, and
aim.
he's crazy good. Like his tape is ridiculous.
Right.
He was the fifth guy. It's ridiculous, but I don't know about that, brother.
We got to put that in that honest aid folder. We're gonna have to, put in action by that. We got FOMO. We got FOMO to choose from. Yeah, Martin gonna have to help me out with that. But definitely, I would say for me, and I'm biased. I think we need a swing tackle or somebody that can compete with Austin Jackson at that right tackle spot, just in case. And then at the 84 position, from what I've been hearing, and I listened to Chris Greer and last week, Reason played some of the clips, this and that. Maybe tight end. It's supposed to be a really deep draft for tight end. So if you can pick up a tight end with the 84th pick, that 50th pick or whatever, I got to go offensive line unless they do something or they know something and they're not showing their hand back. I think we definitely need a tackle for sure to solidify some things. So that's what my mindset is.
So what are your priorities, Martin?
I will say it all depends on how that first pick kind of, like what happens with that first pick. Because if a guy like John Michael Schmidt, right, from Minnesota falls and he's sitting right there at 51.
Jets, brother, I don't know if he's getting past the Jets, bro.
But I'm just just throwing out scenarios. John Michael Schmidt, if he falls, if Jack Campbell falls, obviously I'm throwing out names, but it at the end of the day, I really want us to address tight end. I think by pick 51, if a guy like Sam Laporta falls to us at 51, I think he makes a ton of sense. I think he equally, plays a significant role within how we're going to use our weapons on offense, as far as the guys out on the sidelines, and obviously how we're going to use our running backs as well. I think Sam Laporta makes the most sense for me at 56. And when we get to 84, and his draft buzz is kind of it's kind of increasing. Ivan Pace Jr., the linebacker out of Cincinnati, I really like him as a prospect, man. He's not getting too much love because he's on the smaller side of linebackers, 5'10", 230.
Yeah, like I don't know if you have looked into it at all, but you need to realize for him to hit, we're talking this is a legitimate outlier type thing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With his length, I mean, he's got 30 and a quarter inch arms and a wingspan of just 72 inches, and you really see it when he takes on blocks and tries to shed them, right?
Yeah, and I get it, man. As far as the transition to the pro level, you have to be concerned about how he manages, taking on a front. But the reason I bring up Ivan Pace is because I've seen the film. Yeah. I see how intense he is as a football player. He plays the game the right way as far as how I want my defensive players to play the game. And also we just brought in a guy named David Long who is similar, eerily similar as far as playing style and size and everything else. I think that's an immediate kind of mentorship when it comes to how you're supposed to play that position at that size on this level. And I think it makes sense, to get a guy like that and put him into a Vic Fangio system where, we can literally use him and utilize him at all three levels if we have to. On the line of scrimmage, at linebacker, and even dropping back in coverage, he reads the quarterback relatively well in the middle of the field. So, overall, I'm with Richmond too, man. Offensive line is something we really have to address heading into this draft. And if one of these tackles falls at the right place, at the right place, at the right spot, man, let's go ahead and bring a guy in and compete. Even though we've already brought in Cameron Fleming, right? The offensive tackle, we brought him in and we're taking a look at him. But I would draft a guy too. I would.
Okay, so that said, are there any players either one of you would pound the table for? Because I'll give you mine. At 51, I got 4 players I'll pound the table for because I think Darnell Washington, Michael Mayer, Steve Avila, Gibbs, I think those guys are gone. So the 4 that I'd pound the table for at 51 are Sam Laporta, tight end, Iowa. Everyone knows I love this guy. He's one of my man crushes. Another one of my man crushes, he can play left tackle, right tackle, left guard, Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse. I think because of the DeJuan Jones issues, I wouldn't be surprised if Bergeron might go a little higher than DeJuan Jones. Love that kid. Listen, with everything we got going on in defensive tackle, another one of my man crushes, Keanu Benton.
Nebraska.
Oh, I love this man. He is such a complete defensive lineman. I think that guy, you watch his film, you fall in love. And then, so and another one for me, he might be there, he might not. Mazi Smith, Michigan game wrecker, pocket disruptor. This guy adds a more extensive pass rush move set, and we have got something incredibly special potentially. So, and then at 84, I would pound the table for Tucker Kraft. Big fan of Tucker Kraft, tight end. Devin A-Chain. If we're at 84 and a Devin A-Chain sitting around, Texas A&M running back, how could you not add a guy that moves like 4.2 on game film? Big fan of Diane Henley. If we're looking for a linebacker that we can add to that core right now. And then if he's sticking around, Sidney Brown, safety out of Illinois, I think he had some much needed depth, and he could potentially battle Deshaun Elliott for that starting spot. I think we'd have a really good safety depth. But any players you guys would pound the table for at 51 or 84? Any guys that really stand out to you? Well, let's start with you, Martin.
51. I'm with you, man. Sam Laporta. I just have to pound the table for that guy, man. I think he's the most polished route runner at tight end.
Yeah,
that's come out into the draft in a long time.
After the catch in this class,
right? And what he brings to the table after the catch is night and day from what we got with Mike Gesicki. So, that's
what McDaniel and Embry love. What he after the catch, right?
Yes. It's something where if he falls there. Boom.
And Martin, I want you to speak on this because one of my biggest frustrating things with this fan base, if someone can't block, automatically these people go to, he's Gesicki. And I've been trying to explain to these people, you got to look at tight end from 2 different blocking standpoints. There's guys who either don't have the functional strength or they do, but they shy away from the physical aspect of the game. Those are the guys you don't want to draft if you're going to have the guys like Sam Laporta. They have the functional strength. They're willing, but they need their hand placement. They need their overall technique cleaned up. And we've got the guys in building to do all that.
Right.
So guys who are willing and have the functional strength, you draft those guys and you coach them up in that technique. It's the guys like Dalton Kincaid and Luke Musgrave who want nothing to do with that physical side of the game. Those are the guys you shy away from if you're looking for a blocker, right?
Dalton Kincaid look like, I'm good. I'm not. I'm not touching that defense.
Mike Gesicki is definitely Dalton Kincaid's favorite player.
but I'm telling you straight up and down, man. Sam Laporta, from what I've seen in the blocking scheme, we already know what he can do with the ball in his hand and catching the football. Sure hands catches. But like how you just mentioned, he's a willing blocker. He is willing to put his nose in there. The only thing is, whether it be foot placement, landmark, hand placement, those are all things that can be worked on through coaching. And also, let's be real, Durham Smythe, that's the best guy you want to learn from as far as what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Up and down the line of scrimmage, where you need to be at, how you need to, balance yourself. Like everything matters when it comes to that type of situation. In bringing a guy like that in and working on him, we have everything in place to really, elevate him to that point. So I'll pound the table for Sam Laporta at 51, and at 84, same thing. I'm pounding the table for Ivan Pace. I know, man. I know you. But every time I watch Ivan Pace play football, I think to myself, bro, this is a grimy linebacker right here, man.
I just think they take a guy like DeMarvion Overshawn at 84 over Ivan Pace.
You know what? I wouldn't mind that either. My man crush is Ivan Pace just because of the nastiness that he brings to the table. But regardless, if you can get your hands on just a suitable player, I'm all for it. So,
Interesting. I like it. Anyone you'd pound the table for, Richmond?
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna stick with offensive line, and hadn't watched a lot of film, but Bergeron from Syracuse, I can go with that one. I think that's gonna be vital, and if we didn't take him, the tie-in from Iowa, I think that would definitely be a good pick. Either one of those guys, but I'm always leaning offensive line, especially knowing the situation that we're in. Not saying that Laporte is not deserving of it. I gotta try to protect my quarterback. So I want to show that up. And then at the 84, of course, I got to go with Devon A-Chain. He wore that maroon like me. So went to Texas A&M, great kid, great teammate, this and that. And like you said, when you can add that 4.2, 4.3 speed to what we already got, it just makes you that much more dangerous. And I think he's even been working not just at running back, maybe at the slot, working on his hands as far as catching and everything. They just had him on the news here the other day, getting ready for the draft. So,
do you think he can add some more mass to his frame? Do you think because he's still young?
Bit. I think he could get up to around about 200. Something like that. Look like he's not a big guy. I think it's about
185,
maybe 5'10". Yeah. And I think when he first came back, when the season started, he was just coming out of track, so he always leans up a little bit since and then he started to pull on. But I think he can carry 200 pounds. Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, that's because who he reminds me of? Austin Eckler minus the thickness.
Thickness, okay.
Like reminds me. Don't go there.
I didn't. That's more. I didn't do that.
That's on me, bro. I just heard one and the other. I was like, oh man, that ain't sound too good.
Pause.
Yeah, I'm with you though. Yeah.
Oh man, y'all crazy.
But I'm with you. Austin Eckler is comparable as far as overall. Like he just catches you by surprise, man. And to be honest, when you look at A-Chain, his explosiveness through the line of scrimmage is what really catches your eye. And obviously, as far as a pass catcher, he's seamless in that department as well, man. I don't think you can go wrong with the Dolphins' first two picks, to be honest. There's too many players that are going to be available, and depending on like what you really want and what kind of projects well down the road, I just trust they're going to make the best decision.
Yeah, so do I. Another guy who might be there because of health concerns, even though he checked out at his pro day, Sean Tucker would be very interesting at 84 if he's around, because Sean Tucker and Devin A-Chain might be the two best fits schematically for guys that we can take in with those first two picks. So it'll be very interesting. But guys, you'll be here on Friday when we do the panel. We'll have Kevin Dern will be here too, and Neil will be dropping in. So we got some stuff going on Friday. Tomorrow night I'll be live here by my lonesome for night one. Hopefully there's something we're talking about. But not too much, because we want that night 2 to be real exciting when we got everyone up here. So, guys, I appreciate y'all joining me for tonight. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your Wednesday evening. Over 500 people joined us tonight, so thank you very much. Please smash that like button on the way out. We're going to get out of here, and we will be back next week. We'll see if Bowl Game is here or if he's moving to the IR for a few weeks. We'll see what happens. So next time we will see all y'all. Until then, y'all know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. See all y'all on the next one. Thank y'all for joining us, guys.